Hello everyone! Popping up on your screens once again to talk about Transformers, more specifically, recent toy lines that have come out. So, the thing is that with me and Transformers over the past few years, in terms of the toy lines at least, I've never really gotten anything that's come out concurrently. It's been many years since I last brought a Transformer, and God, I can't even remember what that was. It must be Combiner Wars. Remember when there was Combiners and they combined and it was really cool and Hasbro was getting out of the park with those combiners, and I did a Superion video on this channel that got stupid amounts of views despite being the most atrocious thing I've ever done. Anyway, off on a tangent. Still, Transformers. Nowadays, we have the likes of Siege and Earthrise, and I missed Titan's Return, I missed Power of the Primes and all that. I wasn't really into Transformers at that point. I was kind of taking a hiatus, and I missed out on some quality figures. I mean, when you've got the likes of Trigger Happy and a Dinobot Combiner, it's pretty cool. But, and here's the thing, thanks to my wonderful girlfriend, who has also been getting into Transformers, and actually been buying more than I have. I've been in Smythe's quite a lot recently, and one of the things I always notice in there is the Transformers, as you would do, and all of those lovely pieces of plastic that keep just calling to me on the shelf, buy me, buy me, buy me. But I've resisted the urge because, Transformers is still a big love of mine and I still enjoy it and consume the media as much as possible. But in terms of the figures, it's just not really been doing it for me. But that changed last weekend. More specifically, since TFN, or since the big broadcast happened, my love of Transformers and making videos has kind of sprung back into action, and here I am, popping up on your screens every now and then to just talk about random stuff, as I do. But with this resurgence of creativity and enthusiasm once again in the Transformers, thus came more interest in the figures, and more prominently those that I keep seeing in Smythe's. And so, well, I may have done a deep dive back into Transformers. When I say that I crashed into it, I fell and hit the floor running, because I may have brought quite a bit of new Transformers figures, which, isn't that bad, I guess? So I thought, why not give my initial thoughts on all of these figures? Now, I've never opened them, I haven't had a chance to look at them yet, but I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on how I see the Siege and Earthrise going, and what I think of the line so far, based on what I've seen, and based on how the figures look. So let's get that started with something that was very unusual, and something that I never thought Hasbro would do. Tetrajets! Who likes Tetrajets, everyone? Do you remember when Tetrajets was just a third-party thing that you could only get with third-party figures? And Hasbro was all like, we don't really care about Tetrajets, and half of the fandom didn't really, to be honest, and there was a couple of us that went, Tetrajets, we love Tetrajets! Well, Hasbro have made Tetrajets now, although calling it a Tetrajet is a bit of a wrong description. In my opinion, it's kind of a Viper from Battlestar Galactica mixed with some sort of Cybertronian ship. But it's still cool, and it's the closest we're ever going to get to a Tetrajet. And, now that Earthrise has come out and you're getting all of the Earth-based vehicle modes, I don't think they're going to be ever going back to that. But on that account, this is the first figure that I picked up. It is Thundercracker. It is Siege Thundercracker, and he's pretty damn cool. I think out of all of the Tetrajets, or the Cybertronian Seekers that I've seen, Thundercracker has to be one of the coolest, mainly because of his paint scheme. I do love a cool blue. Very nice. But outside of that, I just think his colours work the best. Plus, he's also the most difficult to find in terms of the UK in any stores, because you see tons of Starscreams on the shelf. In fact, they're covering the shelves with Starscreams. You see a lot of Hotlinks, which again, Hotlink? What? He appears in one episode and he gets a figure in Siege? Hotlink? That guy with the flamethrower? Who everyone was like, what's his name for years? We don't know. Turns out it's Hotlink. Turns out he gets a toy in Siege. Who would have thought it? And of course, Skywarp is an exclusive, and whether I actually get Skywarp is another matter entirely. But I decided to go with the one that was the coolest, because I will get a Starscream at some point, even though I have many a Starscream, as many people probably do in their collections. But Thundercracker, I don't actually own a Thundercracker in any of the previous forms of Seekers. I don't think I have a Thundercracker, so now I do, and he's pretty cool. and I'm looking forward to opening up and flying my Colonial Viper all around the room, because that's totally what it is. It's totally not a Tetrajet, but shh, you won't say. So from a Tetrajet to a land-based Autobot this time, it's Hound. It's Siege Hound. Now this guy has a story to him, mainly because for years I've always been adamant that the only Hound I ever need in any Transformers collection is the Universe one. Yeah, you remember that one, the one that comes with a little Ravage, the one who's super kind of accurate to his animation model in Generation 1, but not really. That Hound. Years I've always wanted that Hound, tried to look for him. He's as rare as N's teeth, as everyone knows, and I just lost the faith that I'd ever get a Hound, to be honest. Then Siege came out, I saw the new Hound, wasn't really impressed with it, kind of didn't look right to me, passed it off as something I was never going to get. A couple of weeks later, TFN big broadcast happens, my love of Transformers comes back, I look at Hound again, and I realise actually he's not too bad, is he? He's got a lovely paint scheme, he doesn't come over Ravage, but he's still really cool, got a lot of accessories, and you know what? In terms of being Generation 1 accurate, he's about as damn near as we're ever going to get, so he's a really cool stand-in for the one I really wanted, but I'm looking forward to exploring what he's like. Now, from Hound to another Autobot car, or truck, or whatever you want to call it, it is Crosshairs! Crosshairs! You know, Crosshairs, the Target Master from Rebirth, who says a couple of lines, gets swept up by Mind Wipe, and then doesn't really do anything else. Crosshairs, a Target Master. Again, a Target Master, and yet he doesn't have his Target Master. Now, this is a big thing I want to talk about with Siege. In terms of from a marketing point of view, Siege Toyline is doing really well for Hasbro because they're marketing all of these much beloved Generation 1 figures and Target Masters called Battle Masters, and getting a lot of interest in it. The thing that I hate is that instead of maybe bundling your Target Masters together with the figures that are actually released, you have to buy them separately. Thus, you know, Hasbro gets a bit more cash on the side. I don't mind buying Battle Masters. I think they're cool, they're neat. I really wish they were more available in the stores, because trying to find one nowadays is really difficult, especially after Siege has kind of been swept aside for Earthrise. But my main biggest issue, especially with Crosshairs here, is that Pinpointer, his Target Master, isn't easily available. In fact, if you wanted Pinpointer, then you got to buy a lovely Megatron. Not just any Megatron, no. We're not talking about just the normal Voyager Megatron from Siege. We're talking about the Netflix Deco Megatron with Pinpointer and another Target Master in a nice package, costing about 50 quid, which in my opinion is a bit much. Just a bit much. They didn't do it with any of the other Target Masters, and the only Target Master partner that they ever brought out in this wave, Crosshairs, his Target Master is the most difficult to find out of all of them. It's a bit annoying, but then again, a new Megatron would be pretty good though. I might have to look into that Megatron. And last but certainly not least, is Sideswipe. Yeah, Sideswipe. Never thought I'd want this guy. Sideswipe is a character who I have barely any attachment to. Out of all of the Generation 1 cast, all of the 84 cast, Sideswipe is the one that for me gets overlooked. And I overlook him myself, to the point where he's cool. You know, Sideswipe is cool. He lends Primus jetpack in the first episode to blast off Megatron as they're leaving Earth, and does a few more bits throughout the first season, but Sideswipe, there's nothing much notable I can say about the character, and for years I've never really wanted a Sideswipe. Then this all came along and changed that, and to be honest, he's a pretty damn good looking Sideswipe, if I have to say so myself. Not sure what his Alt mode's going for though. Is it either a car, or is it either a Cybertronian car? I can't really tell. It's either a Lamborghini, or it's a ancient alien Cybertronic car. Which one it is, you decide, because I have no idea. And who knows, we're probably going to get a Sideswipe late down the line that actually does turn into a Lamborghini. But for now, this is the best thing near it, and it's pretty cool, to be honest. So for now, that's really all that I got in my deep dive back into Transformers. It's quite a lot, to be honest, considering I've never brought bots in the past 3-4 years. So spending all of that money on Transformers, ooh, it's a strange feeling again. Not sure if I'm okay with it. I love the figures, and I probably will do once I get them out of the packaging. But yeah, it's still a quandary in my mind whether or not I should have actually bought them. But we shall see, shan't we? Now, there was a couple of other figures in the line that I really wanted to talk about, notably Spinister. Spinister was there in Smiles, and I could have got him. He's quite rare, I understand now, but he falls into the same problem that Crosshairs does. He's a double Target Master, and he comes with neither Target Master, and it's even worse than Crosshairs because while Megatron, that pack you can get pretty much in any Smives, you can get in a few other places. The Spinister Target Masters come with Skywarp, who is a exclusive in every single country and seems to be sold out on most online retailers, which kind of sucks. And you're left with Spinister with just some normal coloured guns to make them look like. I mean, he's a cool figure. If I could get the Target Masters, I'd get him. But I don't think... again, Spinister doesn't really do it much for me. Sure, he's in More Than Meets the Eye and he's awesome in it, but... I don't know. Just not feeling it with that one. And finally, the last figure was Ultra Magnus, the leader class from the very beginning of Siege, way back when they released that amazing Shockwave. And that's the only figure that I do actually have from Siege, because it was brought for me many years ago, a couple of years ago now, I guess, for my birthday. And as a massive Shockwave fan, I lapped it up and really do enjoy it. But again, you notice that the size and plastic quality, the plastic amount that you get on each of the figures does go down, even though in Hasbro's fairness it does mean that all of the Siege and Earthrise figures are now kind of in scale with each other, although Generation 1 animation scale is all over the place, so I don't know how accurate you can be, but we'll see. We will see how it goes. But yes, the Ultra Magnus, that lovely leader class Ultra Magnus, has got a hint of RID in there, especially in the Alt mode, and also that beautiful core robot in it. That thing looks very nice, although I have a quandary because while it's very difficult to get hold of these days, it is in my local Smides for like on offer for about 30, and I have been worrying in my mind, do I get it? Don't I? I'm not sure. Problem is, Kingdom's coming out next year. There's an Ultra Magnus lined up for that leader class. It looks like it has an Earth-based alt mode as well that's less RID and more probably Generation 1. So do I hold out for that, hoping it's going to be a better figure? If it turns out it's not, then I've lost a good figure. Or do I get the Ultra Magnus now and just use that one? To be honest, the Siege Ultra Magnus is a very nice looking bot, and I'd be happy with that in my collection, so who knows. But overall, Siege is really pushing the Generation 1 homages all the way. They're just trying to slaver Generation 1 on everything, which isn't bad, but I would prefer it if perhaps we got a few characters that wasn't Generation 1 brought into the fray. It's nice to see Barricade in some of the initial waves of Siege, and that really nice Galaxy Optimus Prime that's the Cybertron Optimus Prime. But after that, it kind of went. But Earthrise is going very Generation 1 with its alt modes and its robots. So yeah, I'm back into Transformers. I've delved so fast into it, brought a ton of bots, gonna be looking at them, definitely going to be doing character-based reviews on each of the characters there, maybe showing off the toy as well, giving some thoughts on that, as you do, because, let's face it, at the end of the day, I still love lore. Lore comes first before anything. Character bios, universe, story, background, all of that brilliant stuff still happens, and I still adore it to this day. Figures take a second, and they always have done, but it's so good to just have Transformers again, and be back in kind of the collecting mentality, I guess. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Ed, shout out to Ed, you're an awesome dude, and I'd love to see you back on YouTube. Ed, BumbleJumper82, if you haven't checked out his channel, do it now. Do yourselves a favour, check it out. It's pretty damn awesome. He does some quality videos, and he's recently back on YouTube after a long hiatus, I guess much like myself, doing videos. One of his biggest ones was about collecting regrets when it comes to Transformers, which is a very cool video, and I highly suggest you go and watch it. But to kind of tie into that a bit, I guess my regret is having such a big gap away from Transformers collecting, because there's so many great figures that I've missed, and I've trying got to now go back and try and attempt to get those, which is going to be very difficult, especially as the wonderful TFN isn't going to be on this year, which is normally where everyone is able to get all of their plastic needs that they haven't been able to, and try and find some hidden gems from past several years. But Earthrise and Siege are still doing it for me, so that's going to be a way going forward. But it's strange. It is strange to be back collecting. Not sure how I truly feel about it at the moment. But I think once I open those figures, it's going to feel a lot better. So thank you for watching this weird, crazy, kind of rantish, vlogish video about me diving back into Transformers. I showed off a couple of figures. I don't know whatever you'd call this video. If it's a haul video, if it's a vlog, who knows? It's just a video talking about my love of Transformers again, and how I love the plastic still, and how, you know, I'm back in it. Back into Transformers in a very deep, deep way. But until the next time that I pop up on your screens and probably talk about Transformers or talk about some nice lore, I shall say goodbye and have a brilliant day, everyone. See you later.